Alright, hello everyone. My name is Serafi and I'm happy to meet you all, and today we're going to be playing some Fiendsmith Azamina Chimera. A complicated deck, and it has a lot of different avenues to it. It basically, between Azamina and Fiendsmith, you have so many ways to kind of pressure your opponent, bait out hand traps, force your opponent to interact with your board, potentially even get, an Omni Negate on your board before your 5th summon so that you're Nibiru proof. And then you use both Fiendsmith and Azamina to set up multiple negates before you start doing your core Chimera plays, which will allow you to hand rip and potentially set up some disruption during your opponent's turn with both negates and destruction. The deck functions really well, primarily because Azamina, Fiendsmith, and Chimera are all one-card combo decks, and they're all fairly small engines. You don't have nearly as much room for hand traps. But you do have like a very dangerous deck when you're going first, and you have so many options when you're going second that a lot of times your opponent will run out of interruption. So it's a deck that's not designed to stop your opponent from building a board, but rather designed to play through their board as much as possible. And it's actually quite good at it, to be honest. All right, so let's get started. First up, we're going to do some basic one-card combos. To be honest, you don't have so many hand traps in the deck that you need to worry about this sort of thing. You will always have 2 or 3 or 4 cards that you're going to be using to build your board. But, for the sake of a combo video, we're going to start small. First, one-card combo is Cornfield Coatl. So you activate this card, you discard it, and it lets you add any card that mentions Chimera Fusion from your deck to your hand. So you choose Mirror Swordknight. Normal summon Mirror Swordknight, use its effect, tribute it. Special summon Big Wing Berfomet from your deck. Big Wing Berfomet's effect activates. You grab Chimera Fusion and Gazelle, the King of Mythical Claws. Activate Chimera Fusion and fuse your Big Wing Berfomet with your Gazelle, King of Mythical Claws to make Chimera the Flying Mythical Beast. Gazelle's effect is a Chain Link 1, Berfomet's effect is a Chain Link 2, targeting your Mirror Swordknight, and then Chimera's effect is a Chain Link 3 to hand rip your opponent. You're going to search your Diabelle's the original Sinful Sin Keeper, and then you activate Chimera Fusion to add it back to your hand. Set the Chimera Fusion and pass turn. During your opponent's main phase, you will, so you toggle on, you hand rip your opponent. During your opponent's draw phase, you'll tribute Mirror Swordknight so that its effect will be live. Special summon Gazelle, the King of Mythical Claws from your deck. Use its effect, grab another Chimera Fusion for next turn. Sure, why not? And then you have a couple things. So first up, you're going to have 2 negates in the graveyard, which is going to be your Mirror Swordknight, which you can banish from the graveyard to negate the effect of a monster your opponent controls that's activated while you control Chimera, the King of Mythical Beasts. And then you also have Cornfield Coatl, which you can banish from your graveyard to negate the activation of a card that targets a card you control while you have Chimera, the Mythical Beast, and then destroy the card. Once you've used both of those, you'll activate your Chimera Fusion. You'll fuse the 2 monsters on your field with the 1 card in your hand in order to summon your Guardian Chimera. And when you've done that, Guardian Chimera will destroy 2 cards your opponent controls without targeting, and it will also allow you to draw a card. Then your Gazelle's effect will activate, allowing you to revive, your Gazelle's effect will activate, allowing you to add Nightmare Apprentice to your hand, and then you will also use Chimera's effect to bring back your Diabelles, forcing your opponent to set spells and traps instead of before they can activate them. And then if they set a card, you can then use its effect, Diabelles' effect, to destroy itself and the card that was set, stopping your opponent from activating a spell card. So that's a lot of interruption. That's 2 negates, 2 destructions, a 3rd destruction, and kind of like a semi-negate because you stop your opponent from activating a spell card for just a 1-card combo. Really solid. Alright, next up for 1-card combos, we have Mirror Swordknight. So we're going to normal summon Mirror Swordknight and use this effect. This is basically the same thing as the Coatl version, except that we do Coatl later. So we summon Big Wing Berfomet, use its effect to draw both Chimera Fusion and the Gazelle, the King of Mythical Claws. Then we'll activate Chimera Fusion and fuse into our Chimera, the Flying King of Mythical Beasts. Okay, Gazelle's effect is a Chain Link 1. Big Berfomet's effect is a Chain Link 2. And Chimera's effect is a Chain Link 3. Okay, so in this instance, you're going to add Coatl since you don't have it yet. Then you activate Coatl's effect, discard it, grab another copy of Mirror Swordknight, and then you'll activate Chimera Fusion to add it back to your hand. Set, pass, hand rip. Opponent's turn, Mirror Swordknight effect, tribute itself. Special summon Gazelle. Gazelle's effect, grab the Sinister Necrom. And then it's the same thing, except now you don't have the Diabelles. You could potentially get Coatl like summoned with Mirror Swordknight, so that you could potentially still have the Diabelles in your hand, and you essentially have the same board at that point, except for the problem is that you wouldn't be able to, if you banished, if you wanted to use Coatl's effect to protect your monster, you would have to banish it from the field, which means that you couldn't use it as Guardian Chimera fodder, which means that when you fusion summon Guardian Chimera, you would have to use another card from your hand, which isn't a one-card combo, and you would potentially end up only destroying one card your opponent controls instead of two. So I feel like it's better to have the better Guardian Chimera than it is to have the Diabelles. You could potentially do better there. You could fusion summon the other monster, the Berfomet, the King of Phantom Beasts here, and mill Diabelles if it's a matchup that you really feel like you need Diabelles in. And then you give up the hand rip in exchange, which I feel like the hand rip is so powerful that I don't really want to do that. Regardless, it's almost the same as it was before, just a little bit less flexibility. You still have the 2 negates, you still have the hand rip, you still have the destroy 2 and draw 1, and you still have 4 other cards in your hand. Alright, moving on. Alright, time to start mixing some things up. So this time we're going to look at what happens if we have Cornfield Coatl and Fiendsmith Engraver. Let's get started. Activate Engraver's effect, discard it. You're going to do this first because you don't want to fusion lock yourself. Activate Fiendsmith's Tract, draw your Lurrie. Discard Lurrie. Lurrie comes back. Link summon into the Fiendsmith's Requiem. Requiem tribute itself. Special summon the Lacrima of the Crimson Tears. Lacrima of the Crimson Tears, mill your other copy of Fiendsmith Engraver. Engraver effect, shuffle back the Lurrie. Special summon itself. Link 2 into Fiendsmith Sequence. Sequence effect, shuffle back the Lacrima and one of the Engravers. Summon Fiendsmith and Lacrima. Lacrima effect, bring back the Fiendsmith Engraver. Now we can link all 3 of these into Apollousa, Bow of the Goddess for 3 negates. You can potentially Engraver there to burn your opponent for 12 if you think that's going to be relevant. Now you can activate Cornfield Coatl's effect, discard it. Grab your Mirror Swordknight. Normal summon Mirror Swordknight, use its effect, tribute itself, special summon your Big Wing Berfomet. Baphomet's effect, grab your Chimera and your Chimera Fusion. Activate Chimera Fusion, go into your Chimera, the King of Phantom Beasts. Gazelle's effect activates as a Chain Link 1. Baphomet's effect activates as a Chain Link 2, bringing back the Mirror Swordknights. And Chimera's effect activates as a Chain Link 3. Alright, now in this instance, you have options. So what you're going to do here, you grab Nightmare Apprentice, and then you get back your Chimera Fusion. Nightmare Apprentice, discard a card from your hand, special summon it. Then you use Nightmare Apprentice's effect, and you can grab your Elzet Azamina of the White Forest, which can special summon itself. And that gives you some extra materials. And now you can use the Chimera Fusion that you drew. Nah, you wouldn't do that. But you do have two monsters that you can use to fuse with your Chimera Fusion without using your Chimera, the Flying Mythical Beast, allowing you to easily set up your Guardian Chimera, along with your hand rip, along with 3 negates, and along with the 2 negates in the graveyard. So the Fiendsmith engine has added essentially 3 negates to your end board and also allowed you to draw a few more cards. Pretty good. Alright, so now we're going to look at a 2-card combo where we use Coatl along with Chimera Fusion so that we don't have to fusion lock ourselves. Let's see what happens in that situation. So Coatl effect, discard it. We grab Mirror Swordknight. Normal summon Mirror Swordknight effect, tribute itself. Special summon the Gazelle, the King of Mythical Claws. Gazelle's effect, grab the Baphomet. Then we activate Chimera Fusion, and this time we're going to make Baphomet the mythical king of phantom beasts. So we fuse Gazelle with Baphomet. Okay, just like before, we're going to chain block. So we're going to go Baphomet's effect as a Chain Link 1 to bring back our Mirror Swordknights. Chimera's effect, actually, in this instance, you should go Baphomet last, so that you potentially get Ghost Belled in that situation, but you can't get Ashed. So we'll add Nightmare Apprentice as usual, and then the card that we're going to mill here, we're going to mill our Evil Hero Sinister Necrom with the effect of Chimera, the Flying Mythical Beast, because when it's summoned, you can send 1 Beast, Fiend, or Illusion from your deck to the graveyard. So now we activate Evil Hero Sinister Necrom's effect, we banish it from the graveyard. That allows us to special summon Evil Hero with Dusted Gold from our deck, and Evil Hero with Dusted Gold is a light fiend, so we can immediately use it to go into our Fiendsmith Requiem. Requiem tributes itself. Special summon the Lacrima of the Crimson Tears. Lacrima of the Crimson Tears, mill the Engraver. Engraver, return Evil Hero Dusted Gold to the deck, special summon itself. Link into the Fiendsmith sequence using Lacrima of the Crimson Tears and Mirror Swordknight. And currently we have 2 Light Fiends in our graveyard. Okay. Sequence effects. Shuffle these two back. Special summon the Lacrima. And now you can overlay these two into Fiendsmith Lars. Or Valzar Lars, I'm sorry. Then you activate Nightmare Apprentice. You discard a card from your hand, special summon it. And you would search the Elzet Azamina of the White Forest, but we already have it in our hands, so we'll just grab something else. Elzet's effect is special summon itself. And then we will link these three into Appaloosa. Okay, so you can see that by having just one more card for our combo, instead of having a one-card combo, just having the Chimera Fusion allowed us to increase our board substantially. Now we have an Omni Negate with the Valzar Lars, and we have 3 negates with Appaloosa Bow of the Goddess, in addition to having the 2 negates from the graveyard with the Mirror Swordknight and the Coatl. We do lose the Guardian Chimera. We don't have Guardian Chimera to pop on the field during the opponent's turn anymore, and we also have lost the hand rip. But this is a very powerful, threatening board, and you don't necessarily need to rip a card out of your opponent's hand if you can negate 4 more of their cards. Okay, this combo is going to be similar to the previous one where we just use Mirror Swordknight with Chimera Fusion. Like the first combo, you're going to see how not having Coatl is going to affect our ability to create an end board, but we'll make do with what we have. So normal summon the Mirror Swordknight, use the effect to summon Gazelle. Gazelle, add Big Wing Berfomet from your deck to your hand. Then activate Chimera Fusion, and we're going to use it to make our Berfomet the Mythical King. Berfomet's effect is a Chain Link 1, Gazelle's effect is a Chain Link 2, and then Big Wing Berfomet's effect is a Chain Link 3, targeting the Mirror Swordknight. We add the Nightmare Apprentice, and then we're going to send the Evil Hero Sinister Necrom from our deck to the graveyard. Sinister Necrom's effect activates. Banish it. Special summon the Adusted Gold from the deck, link into the Fiendsmith sequence, or Fiendsmith Requiem. Requiem effect, tribute itself. Special the Lacrima from deck, Lacrima effects, mill the Engraver. Engraver, shuffle back the Adusted Gold. Then I have Fabled Lurrie, so I could actually make this combo a lot better, but we're not going to do that. All right, so discard card, special summon the Nightmare Apprentice. All right, a Nightmare Apprentice's effect. We will grab the Coatl at this point, and then we will Xyz into a Valzar Lars. Link in, use Coatl's effect, of course, to grab Mirror Swordknight. Link into the Fiendsmith sequence. Sequence effect. Shuffle 2 back. Make the Lacrima. Chimera Fusion returns to our hand. Then we set the Chimera Fusion, and now during our opponent's turn we will be able to use Chimera Fusion to combine the Fiendsmith sequence, the Fiendsmith Lacrima, and the card in our hand in order to go into a Guardian Chimera. So same basic combo, except that since we had to use since we had to get Coatl from our search off of our Nightmare Apprentice, we don't have enough summons to make the Appaloosa. But that's okay. We don't need Appaloosa when we have Guardian Chimera. We still have the Omni Negate off of Valzar Lars. We still have the 2 negates from the graveyard. Our board is still very good. All right, time to get crazy. So let's start with Nightmare Apprentice and Fabled Lurrie. So we will special summon our Nightmare Apprentice by discarding Fabled Lurrie. Lurrie's effect, it comes back, and we're going to trigger Nightmare Apprentice as a Chain Link 2, and we'll use that to search Coatl. Alright, link into Requiem. Requiem tribute itself to special summon the Lacrima. Lacrima's effects. Mill the Engraver. Engraver effect. Shuffle Lurrie back. Special summon itself. Link Lacrima and Engraver into Sequence. Sequence effect. Shuffle back Requiem and Lacrima to make Fiendsmith's Lacrima. Fiendsmith's Lacrima, bring back the Fiendsmith Engraver. Okay. At this point, we can Xyz into Lars. Alright, now we Coatl, discard, grab the Mirror Swordknight, normal summon Mirror Swordknight effect, tribute itself, special summon the Big Wing Baphomet from the deck, Baphomet effects, grab the Chimera Fusion and the Gazelle, the King of Mythical Claws. Activate Chimera Fusion, go into the King of the Phantom Beasts. Gazelle's effect is a Chain Link 1, Baphomet's effect is a Chain Link 2, bringing back the Mirror Swordknights. And Chimera's effect is a Chain Link 3. Grab your Diabels. Return Chimera Fusion to the hand. And set it. Okay, so in this instance, we have the ability to go into our full Diabels combo along with Valzar Lars. Now, it's up to you whether you want to make Lars there or if you want to make a 4-material Appaloosa. Because you could use the Engraver, the Lacrima, the Sequence, and the Nightmare Apprentice to make a 4-material Appaloosa. That does leave your board a little bit vulnerable to like a board breaker like Raigeki, but it also could potentially give you a big blowout if your opponent plays a bunch of monster effects. Still, monsters do have to hit the board at some point, so Chimera Fusion, combining your Fiendsmith Sequence and your Chimera, the Flying Mythical Beast, along... Or no, wait, no. Fiendsmith Sequence is a Fiend, so actually you don't have to use Chimera in this instance. So since you summoned a Fiend monster and left it on the board, you can actually use Fiendsmith Sequence and Nightmare Apprentice along with your Diabels to make your Guardian Chimera, which means that you can actually do that much earlier in the combo since you don't have to wait for your Mirror Swordknight and your Coatl to get value. You can actually just keep Chimera on the board. So that's a lot more flexibility for this combo. Putting that out there. Alright, now don't think I forgot about you Azamina fans. So, let's take a look at what happens when we have Deception of the Sinful Spoils along with a monster and Coatl. So activate Deception of the Sinful Spoils, use its effect, we're going to tribute a random monster from our hand in order to draw the Hallowed Azamina. Now we activate Hallowed Azamina and we're going to fusion summon our Azamina Mu Rasiliago. Send the Deception, special summon it. Mu Resiliago's effect, we add Wanted Seeker of the Sinful Spoils from our deck to our hand, which we will then activate, allowing us to add Diabellstar the Black Witch. Now we special summon Diabellstar by sending Mu Resiliago to the graveyard. And Diabellstar's effect allows us to place the Deception and Sinful Spoils from our deck face down on the field. Now we'll activate Deception's effect, and then we're going to use the effect of the Hallowed Azamina from our graveyard, shuffle back the Mu Resiliago to add it back to our hand, and then we can activate Hallowed Azamina's effect to reveal our Ilia Silva, pitch the Deception, special summon the Ilia Silva. At this point, you have summoned, what, 3 times? Mu Resiliago, Diabellstar, Silva. Yeah. So you are 3 summons into the turn. So now you have an Omni Negate, because Ilia Silva says when your opponent activates a card or effect, you quick effect tributes Ilia Silva to negate the effect. So this card locks you away from Nib. You are no longer Nibiru. Now you can activate the effect of... Well, first we'll activate Coatl. Coatl will grab us the Mirror Swordknight. Then we can activate Wanted Seeker of the Sinful Spoils from our graveyard to return Deception to the bottom of our deck to draw a card. This allows us to go plus. So this is not a 3-card combo, even though you do need a monster in your opening hand, certainly. But since you are drawing a card later, it makes up for the fact that you had to discard a card for your Deception. So just keeping that in mind. Alright, normal summon Mirror Swordknight tribute itself, special summon the Baphomet from the deck. Baphomet effects, grab the Chimera Fusion and the Gazelle. Chimera's effect is a Chainlink 1. Baphomet's effect is a Chainlink 2. Target the Mirror Swordknights. Chimera effect is a Chainlink 3. Chimera Fusion comes back to your hand. Set pass. Okay, so in this instance, we have an Omni Negate with our Ilia Silva. Basically, this is like making a Valzar Lars in Fiendsmith, but it's much easier. And we don't have to rip through nearly as much of our deck. Then we still have the 2 negates with the Mirror Swordknight. We also, since we have the Diabellstar, the Black Witch, since we can special summon Gazelle from our deck with Mirror Swordknight, that means we can actually use Chimera Fusion to use Gazelle, Diabellstar, and Diabellese to summon our Guardian Chimera. And actually, if you want to, this combo, one of the benefits of it is Hallowed Azamina actually is in your graveyard, and so is Deception and the Sinful Spoils. You can actually summon Diabellese right away. You don't have to, obviously. If you're talking about just a pure combo, you would keep it in your hand so you have the ability to summon Guardian Chimera. But in reality, you're going to have other monsters in your hand. This card actually can come down right away, giving you additional disruption, forcing your opponent to set one of their cards from the start of the turn. This can prevent them from activating Reinforcement of the Army, or Bonfire, or OSS. And then you could just destroy, potentially, potentially you could just destroy the Gazelle that you search off of Mirror Swordknight because you don't care about it, to use the effect of Diabell's to pop one of your opponent's cards. Really, really good, actually. Or you could destroy, actually, you'd probably destroy Diabellstar the Black Witch so that you can still use the Gazelle for Chimera Fusion. But you get what I'm saying. Like, this is actually some really good interruption. The Azamina makes the Diabell's a much better search. So yeah. I've talked for 45 minutes at this point, so I'll let it go there. Let's take a look at our list. We have the Fabled Lurrie, 2 copies of Max C, 1 LZ Azamina the White Forest, 3 copies of Ash Blossom Joyous Springs, 1 Evil Hero Dusted Gold, 3 copies of Gazelle the Mythical King of Claws, 3 copies of Cornfield Coatl, 3 copies of Mirror Swordknight, 1 Lacrima the Crimson Tears, 1 Evil Hero Sinister Necrom, 1 Bigwig Murphamet, 3 copies of Nightmare Apprentice, 2 copies of Fiendsmith Engraver, 1 Diabell Star the Black Witch, 1 Diabellese the Original Sin, 1 Nibiru the Primal Being, 2 copies of Fiendsmith's Tract, 1 Hallowed Azamina, 3 copies of Deception of the Sinful Spoils, 2 Called by the Graves, 3 Chimera Fusions, and 1 Wanted Seeker of the Sinful Spoils. Now granted, you could adjust these ratios as you like. Maybe you feel like you want to make sure that you draw tracts, so you could potentially cut a card. The best card to cut would probably be... one Gazelle, maybe? It's a rough cut, but yeah, you could do that. You could just play 41 cards as well if you wanted to. Or you could cut a hand trap. Maybe you only want to run 2 Ash. Maybe you feel like you don't need Nibiru. And then for the extra deck, we have Chimera, Baphomet, Fiendsmith Lacrima, Necroquip Princess, Azamina Ilia Silva, Azamina Rusiliago, Magnum the Reliever, which is the Chimera Fusion. It lets you target a Chimera Fusion in your graveyard, place it on the bottom of the deck and draw 1 card, or you can banish a Chimera Fusion from your graveyard to target 1 card on the field and destroy it. Azamina Mo Regina. This is a fusion of an illusion monster and a level 6 or higher fiend monster, so you can make this with LZ Azamina's effect along with Baphomet, the Mythical King of Claws, after you've summoned it. Azamina's effect, you can target 1 illusion monster in your graveyard and special summon it, which will be, if you do this, you're going to summon Baphomet, you're going to mill your Diabells, and then you're going to special summon LZ to make Mo Regina and special summon Diabells from your graveyard. But if you do this, then you don't have Chimera out for your negates. When an Azamina or Sinful Spoils card or effect is activated, you can target 2 cards on the field and destroy them. Guardian Chimera, Chaos Angel, which you can make. Chaos Angel is a really interesting card in this deck because you have so many different 6s. You have Nightmare Princess, which is a dark level 6, along with Lacrima the Crimson Tears and Mirror Swordknight. So that's a light and a dark that you can use to make a 10. You could potentially also do Fiendsmith Engraver and a Dusted Gold, Fiendsmith Engraver and Lacrima the Crimson Tears, Fiendsmith Engraver and Mirror Swordknight. It's only light, so you're not getting the ability to prevent your monsters from being destroyed by battle, but who really cares? You're all illusions, you can't be destroyed by battle anyway. Evolzar Lars, Fiendsmith's Requiem, Moon of the Closed Heaven, Fiendsmith Sequence, and Appaloosa the Goddess. We are not playing Desiree. My name is Rafi, and I was thrilled to have all of you with me.